So in Guidewire, also there is a database server. So mostly in the US market. Canadian market clients use SQL Server as for database. Okay, but for local development and local testing of the development. So developers use S2 database, which comes with inbuilt Guidewire out of the box. We do not need to set up any database for that. It comes inbuilt with that. Once we install the Guidewire right, it will automatically get installed. Okay. So all the data will be stored in the database server. All the application logic, right? We are writing the code here, right? We are writing the logical behavior of the application. All the rules, all the business rules, will be written in the application layer. All the classes which we need to define. We need to define in the application layer. And there is a web client layer, which will include the UI part of the application, right? So in the backend, we have the business rules and the database server. And the client is the frontend. So we don't in Guidewire, we don't have to use frontend, like we don't have to use different frontend technologies, right? React, Angular, all those stuff, right? HTML, CSS. We don't have to use that. Because Guidewire internally. It comes with a complete package. So there is a concept named page configuration file. It's a drag and drop concept. So we are going to use PCF file to do any changes in the UI for that. And it's a drag and drop. So it's a combination of all these three layers. Whenever we say that we are a developer, right, so we should have a knowledge on all the three places. And apart from this, the tier 4, right? So we have the 4 tier 3 logic here. But we have one more tier as tier 4, which is nothing but the integration with the third-party applications. As I've already given you one example, right? So another example can be the authentication server. Suppose someone is logging into the policy center, right? So all the credentials and the permissions. There might be some third-party system which would be checking, which would be containing the data. Who should have what permissions, right? Who should have the login permissions to the game center? So during the login, we'll call the authentication server. That is third-party system. And third-party system will send us the response back that, yes, this particular guy has the access and the application will be logged. Okay. So this is another example of integration in any application. Okay. Irrespective of policy center, billing center, game center. So you can see that we have a policy for game center. We have an integration with the policy admin. Right. And there are two of the life cycle of a claim. Right. There can be multiple documents which can be generated, right? So those generated documents should have a repository. So to make the guys, as a lightweighted application, just to store the data related to the particular claim, right? So not to make the application heavy. Clients generally recommend to have an external document storage system. So in US and Canadian market, most of the client use image write system to store the document. So what they will do? From Claimcenter, they will send the metadata to the document storage system, and document storage system will store the document, and it will create a public ID to uniquely identify the document. So at later stage of time, if we want to retrieve that particular document from the claim center, we have to send that public ID to the document storage system so that it will search for that particular document in its system and it will send us back. Okay. So this is also third-party system. So we'll be talking about different third-party systems throughout the course. And whatever has been written, whatever we need to write in the application layer, we need to write. There is a language named Kusu. So it is built on top of the Java language only. It is object-oriented language and it is based on the Kusu concept. Okay. It's just like some syntax differences are there, but not the major differences. This is our guide by Studio. Okay. So you will get all the files related to the project right in this pen. And you can see all the files related to the application layer, database layer, and the UI layer in this section. So I'll go through each and every section in detail. What each and every section contains. Where are the classes written? Okay. So we'll cover all. Let me close it. Okay. So let me go back to the PPT. So in database model. So suppose we have to create a new entity. So we call the database tables right. We call it as an entity in the guide file. Right, so whatever tables which we are going to create, right. In the database, we would be referring as an entity in the guide, where not the tables. Okay. So suppose we want to create a new table in the database, right? We don't do it directly in the database site. What we do? We will create an entity inside the studio, and automatically the corresponding table will be database table will be created for that particular entity. So you can see that for AV contact there is an entity which will contain the contact information, name, public ID, and create time. So these are the fields of this particular entity. Right. So public ID is nothing but the unique identifier for each object of this entity. Right. And AV contact is the name of the entity. So as soon as we create an AV contact entity in the studio, okay. Automatically, a backend table will be created with the name of AB. AB is nothing but the application initials. This is for training app, we use AB. For Policy Center, we use BC. For BC, for Billing Center, we use BC. And for Claims Center we use CC. Okay. So AB_AB contact. A table will be created with this name. Backend table will be created. And what would be stored in the column? Name, public ID, create time. So let me show you an example of the database entity in the Guidewire Studio. And I'll show you whatever has been shown here. I'll be showing you that particular entity only. So in the Extensions tab, we will have all the entities listed. Okay, these entities are nothing but the other tables, which will be storing the data. So we are talking about the AV contact entity, right? So you can see here. So this is a view of the AV contact entity. If we want a new column to this particular entity, right? We can do it from here. We can open the AB contact entity, and you can see there is a plus sign here, where we can add the column.